Hi everyone, I'm Dudley Sawyer. For those who don't know me, I'm a care consultant and a business strategist at People Care Services. I'm also a driver for change within the industry, and I'm passionate about diversity and inclusion. I'd first like to introduce you to Deanna Berry. Deanna is a social care practitioner working with the Children and Family Services. Deanna came to the UK just before the pandemic and has been here since and not been able to get home. So we're proud to have her here. We also have Victoria Oladosu. He's a care manager at Hallmark Care Homes. They recently won a National Care Home Awards. Outside her day job, Victoria spends her time speaking with the youth at schools to drive interest in the care industry. Finally, we have joined by Janet Morgan. Janet Morgan is someone I've known for many years and in many ways a source of inspiration for me being in this industry. Janet is presently a psychiatric nurse, but she's also a specialist dementia trainer, and in her previous life, a CQC inspector. In her spare time, you can find Janet at her allotment growing fruits and veg. So thank you for joining me today. As I mentioned, October is the month for Black History, and I wanted to bring together a group of peers to share why we're proud to be Black in this industry. So what does Black History Month mean to you from a cultural point of view?
I think Black History Month for me means celebrating those that have gone before, those that have paved the way for us to be where we are today, those innovators of history, you know, and it's also, I don't know, motivating our youngster to go forward and to be excellence in themselves.
What Black History Month has come to mean to me is about celebrating and recognizing the achievements of Black people. For modern dads, it reminds me that being Black is a unifying factor across many sectors and across many parts of the United Kingdom. And so it's such a nice feeling to know that there's many other people around who celebrate, you know, being Black and what that represents to them as well.
I think my perception of Black history has changed because in Canada, Black History Month is February. So to not even know that it was in October was the first sign to me that every month is Black History Month somewhere in the world. But most importantly, now that I'm here, it's become more real to me. It's a recognition of the past. My experiences have been enhanced, if anything. Living here, feeling some of the things that maybe people in the past have felt before me, I'm feeling them now, I'm experiencing them now. But for me, it's also a celebration of tradition, stories, history, the events, the food, the uniqueness that reminds me of why I'm so special as a Black woman.
I'm a student of history, and many years ago, I was on a talk and the question was around Black History Month in the UK. And many people didn't understand how it came about and how an individual started it in the 80s, and people to this very day just thought it just appeared or has been there for many, many years beforehand. It's, as we said, a celebration of our culture, celebration which has gone beyond professions as well. So when we look around ourselves, especially in different sectors, we see people celebrating maybe Black individuals in that sector. So I think it's also a chance to showcase each sector, the wonderful individuals, the Black wonderful individuals there are in their sector, which sometimes may go amiss. You know, sometimes you may not see fellow other Black colleagues, and spread across the country, we may not be able to be together under one roof. So having us all together to share our thoughts at one time is really good and shows the actual amount of good people and the amount of people in your sector, a case of unity or support from fellow other colleagues who look like us.
I'll just say one more thing about it.
Go ahead.
It's also educating others, you know, about our history, because there's a lot of people who don't know, especially we live in England. A lot of them don't understand our history, so it's educating them too. Yeah.
Definitely, I think so. I mean, I'll probably touch on when we probably round up, we're going to have our sort of bit to say. But I guess the next question I would say, which I think is really a great one, is, and I'll start with you, Victoria, what Black role model or role models inspire you in and out of social care?
So I would say this is a lady who's not in social care, but it's Dame Sharon White, and I think, you know, she's the current chair of John Lewis. She was former chief executive of Ofcom, and she has shattered so many glass ceilings in her career, done so gracefully, and continues to set track records for Black women everywhere. She's such a role model. I look at her career, what she's done, the kind of change she's trying to achieve. And she, you know, she's one of my role models. It's quite interesting that within social care, I don't really have a Black role model. And I think this is part of why this conversation is so important, that I, as a general manager, cannot look, you know, beyond me and find somebody who's doing the things within social care on a larger scale that I would like to do. So my hope is that as the years and months go by, more Black people begin to rise through the ranks. So other people that are coming, you know, be behind us can look, you know, and have more people that they identify with. Yeah.
Coming here, I've been gravitating towards Councillor Asher Craig, her passion and her eloquence, like just the way she presents herself. I find it inspiring because coming from Canada, I've never really seen a Black woman in that role. It was like fascinating for me to even see the mayor, let alone her, in that position. I was like, wow, this happens here. You know, this, I've never knew these things. And for me, it's inspiring to show me that I can be in any position that I want to be in. A person that inspires me that is no longer here, but in my heart, is Maya Angelou. And I love that woman. Her poetry, all that she's ever written, it's stuck with me. And in those moments where I feel low and I'm questioning my worth, I look at her poem, Still I Rise. I have a tattoo on my arm. I actually woke up one morning feeling so low that by the end of the day, I had Still I Rise written on my arm. That's how powerful her words are. Words are powerful. So people and women in those positions who are fearless, who are intentional, who do and say what they're going to do and say, I look up to them and I want to be one of those women who, I'm not going to apologize for being Black. I'm not going to apologize for being a woman, speaking my mind. I don't want to be afraid to do those things because I'm speaking up for someone else who maybe is afraid to do that. I need to be that person, and they are the people that I want to be like. So those are two women, and my mother, that's just a given. But that's my answer to that. In social care, I can't really say I've seen anyone else, which is sadly the case in my position, as Victoria has mentioned previously, but in and around that, people who are in positions that can make change, Deputy Mayor Asher Craig, definitely. She's become one of those people.
Thank you very much, Deanna. I'm going to go next. And the reason why I'm going next is because I'm inspired by people around me. And one of the people that's been around me is actually on this call today. And her name is Janet. She's inspired me because I've looked for a Black person in this sector for when I started in this sector. And Janet has been a person that I've noticed and seen in this sector doing many various things, and really inspired me that you can have someone in a senior position and someone who can help, from being a trainer, from also being a nurse, and also being an ex-CQC inspector. It shows there's no bounds of what we can do. Next inspiration, my mum was a nurse, and so I always hold nurses in high regard and the amount of work they've done. I was very lucky to interview Dame Elizabeth Ananue, and it really has been inspiring because of a change of her childhood to where she's come from, and the fact that she worked in sickle cell to really be one of the first nurse with sickle cell in the 70s, and I think, late 70s. And I think sickle cell is obviously a disease which we all recognize is attributed to those for the Black people. And I think really pushing and having a role in trying to help progress and help with that with sickle cell is really important. So I think for all what she's gone through, she's recently released a book as well. It's really inspirational to show that you can look like us and be named a dame, because she's now a dame as well. So we can all achieve and strive for that. So I think that's someone who inspires me, or I think is a role model as well. So next, I guess it's your turn, Janet.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dudley, for those nice, kind words. Who inspired me? Well, I was born in Jamaica, so my grand-aunt inspired me. So I sort of grew up with her from about the age of 4 until I was about 9.5. And then when I came here, I knew that I wanted to be a nurse, because she was sort of a nurse, not a qualified nurse, but she helped the community. Yeah, and you know, when I was in nursing, got into nursing and all that, Mary Seacole is the other person that inspired me, because in spite of everything, she managed to write her own autobiography, go on her own journey, helped people. And you know, those are the people that, and Maya Angelou, of course, I can't forget her, you know, Toni Morrison, Alice Walker, all of those great people, they inspire me.
So
yeah.
If we think about going forward, my next question I would say to everyone is, what can we do to attract more Black people into the sector? And obviously this is a starting point of us being here, and it's Black History Month and showcasing that. So I'm going to start with you, Janet, with maybe what you feel we can do to attract more Black people into the sector.
Well, I mean, my first thing would be to value people more and to pay them a decent wage. If we were to pay people more and value them more, maybe we would be able to retain our staff more. And the other thing is about educating people and, you know, supporting people, whether it's through apprenticeship schemes or whatever. But we need young people to carry on, to continue with health and social care. And one of the ways forwards, I think, is that.
I totally agree with, you know, what Janet said, but for me, I think the first is around being intentional about your desire to have a diverse and inclusive workplace. And so if we want to get more people to stay, we need to show that you're able to come into a sector and you're able to actually have a career. Another thing is about creating opportunities to have the conversation around working in health and social care. For example, colleges. We could work with colleges that have Black students, you know, in their population, open up your facilities for them to come and have work experience and take these opportunities to them. Mentorship as well. Mentorship is something that is missing across the Black community as a whole, not just in health and social care. I also think that when it comes to recruitment, job adverts need to state that we welcome people who are different. A lot of people will not want to come to workplaces where they're the only ones, especially in health and social care. You spend such a huge time of your life at work, and you want to be comfortable there. So knowing from the very get-go, from the advertisement, that we are an organization that supports people from all backgrounds, especially, you know, if it comes to race, things like that will welcome people and make them feel a bit more welcome when it comes to applying. And also being a bit, you know, when people actually come to the sector, organizations need to be a lot more racially sensitive, I would say, and have those conversations that sometimes put people off from applying. One more thing is also to look at language. We are in England, and English is the language that's spoken, but I think for us to reach a wider range of people, we need to start to look at language and who are we trying to reach. If you only use English, you would only reach a certain point of people. A mother might see a job application in another language and inform her English-speaking child to apply for it. But I think in order to widen the net, we need to think of language, the use of language and translation.
For me, being intentional in who you have as the first person that I see when I walk into an organization. I think a lot of times I walk into a lot of buildings and I see absolutely no one that looks like me. If your own staff doesn't even represent the community that you work in, how do you expect anyone to want to work there? And I know in my workplace, I'm surrounded by a very diverse culture, but in this building, there isn't that many people that look like me, and I'm very aware of that. But instead of making that a negative, I turn that into a positive to start a lot of conversations that probably need to be had. And it might not just be out of the fact that we're talking about a lot of equality and inclusivity and diversity. We're throwing all these words around in the workplace right now through workshops and conversations, but putting those words into action actually means having those difficult conversations. So for me, bringing those things forward to management, saying, look, I know we're talking about these things, but are we doing them? What are we doing to attract young people, attract people that look like me or people who look like other ethnic communities into this building to want to do these types of jobs? When I look at your brochures, when I look at the things that you send out, I don't see people that look like me on them. I see people that look like the people that I saw when I was younger. If we want to attract people, especially Black people, to this sector, yes, pay them more, but also make the place look ethnically diverse. And in management, when I look across the board, I don't see any Black people in management. So far, I haven't really crossed anyone, which to me is astonishing when we're trying to reach populations around us that there are a lot of ethnic diverse communities. They're not going to trust everyone. And you saying, yeah, come and join our team, but then you're only frontline. And that's as far as you're going to go. Like, we need to have some very real, uncomfortable conversations. And at this time, I'm having those difficult conversations with management because the conversation isn't being had. And we're not seeing, when I see the new people that are coming in, I haven't seen a Black person come in since I started. And that's a conversation that we need to address in a culturally sensitive way, in a sensitive way in all angles. I'm not going to just, talk about culture, but why is that happening? What can we do about it? And where can I fill those gaps that I'm seeing? And I've only been here 18, 19 months, and I'm thinking, wow, why are we not having these conversations? Nobody wants to have them, so now I'm going to have them. I want to see change, and I don't want us to talk about it anymore. I want us to do something about it. So, yeah, now is the time. Old traditions and old ways have passed on. This is a new generation, and if we want to welcome them into the sector, we need to shatter that glass ceiling, and it starts with these conversations that we're having today.
Thank you very much, Deanna. I think it's quite interesting, especially for someone who's not originally from this country, from an outsider in, what you're seeing and your really perspective on how this is. So I think it's quite interesting. What I've found, and I mirror all the sentiments of all that you guys have said as well, but or people have said, but I think it's also, for me, I'm very practical and solution driven. And I think for many of the time, we'll sit here and many people will, as people, Black people may have complained or moaned that this isn't happening, that isn't happening. A lot of the time, it's a case of trying to put your foot forward. And I know over the last 18 months, a lot has changed now where people now are having voices to speak up and criticizing or saying this isn't the case here, or, I've had to put up with something for a long periods of time. It's also happening as well in the boardrooms and organizations. So what I've found, especially I've been doing some work with the NHS, which I'm very proud of, is really working in collaborations and partnerships. One thing I spoke to a lot of organizations wanting to have equality and inclusion and diversity, they said, oh, let's roll out a course. But we all know we want things to be authentic and credible. So if you're going to do that, you have to speak and interact with those who look like the people you're trying to attract. When someone comes into your website or your building, we maybe like color, there's various nuances that we sort of require. If it's not there, people aren't going to stay. So if you want to attract people, make your product authentic, your workplace authentic. Say things, if you want to know someone's name, ask them their name, ask them what they want to be called. Let's have the open lines of communication. Inclusion is really key. So it's about creating awareness first, educating, actioning it, incorporating it into your organizations, and finally sharing this information, because society won't change unless we share this information out. And part of this video hopefully will be shared so people can learn. I'm just going to say lastly, saying in some of the work I've been doing now, I'm getting white middle-aged managers coming up to me and saying, Dudley, I didn't know this. For many years, I didn't know I couldn't say this. I didn't know that this person, I couldn't touch their hair, or they prayed 5 times a day. And all this sort of information has always been out there. So really awareness is really important, and sharing it is key. So after we've spoken about how to attract people, really the next question, how can we celebrate Black people or Black excellence, as I say, in health and social care, similar to those in the NHS and other sectors, because we, and I'm going to say this, the sector of health and social care, we are the second largest employer of diverse and multi-ethnic workforce in the country. However, you don't see many images of us in social care, health and social care anywhere. The NHS have done some events this month, but throughout health and social care throughout this month is probably maybe finding it hard to find unified platform or a national platform which showcases that we're at least a fifth of the workforce. So how can we celebrate people, Black people in health and social care? So I'm going to start with you, Janet.
In health, what they've done is they've got all the great innovators, Black innovators, and they have it on a screen, pictures of each individual person. But that was it. So, I mean, where I worked, I saw it and I thought, oh, this is great. You know, where's the information? So of course, then I had to say, look, this is great to have this, but a lot of people don't know who these people are. So you need to be able to, you know, have each person feature with a documentation of who they are and how they've contributed. Yeah. So, I mean, we could do that. Health and social care could do that. I think that would be a very good idea if they did that. Because not only would it be reminding us of those that have contributed, but it'd be educating others as well.
And it'd be nice to showcase people in different sectors and maybe what they've done throughout the month. I know in previous employers, we've had that get to know so-and-so and their face would be there, what they do, some of their interests, some highlights about them. Getting to actually know that person, a real person, not to say that we can't look at people from the past, but people right now in the present that are doing remarkable things. And it's not that it's going unnoticed, but it'd be encouraging to people, someone walking by saying, oh, I didn't know that person was in that position. And look at the job they're doing and look at what they've, maybe that's something I can strive towards, or maybe I can get to speak to them about their job and, you know, because I'm interested in it. I think that would be great, as well as holding more conferences, galas. I know I went to many back home. We had Planet Africa. Planet Africa is a well-known broadcasting station, but back home I went to galas where they were celebrating Black excellence. And to sit there in a room, I've never been to anything like it. I thought, this needs to happen more often. And these are brilliant people in very high esteemed position, but also people on day-to-day frontline work being just celebrated for the work that they do. So having events like that, having some sort of, I don't know if there's newsletters or things like that that are out there right now. I know that we have our online one, but featuring someone in social care from week to week or from month to month, and then also looking at having inspirational Black speakers come in and putting on forums and showcase where they can actually sit and talk to us about, you know, what they've done, not so much talking about the challenges, but what you can strive towards, positive messages, and just, you know, feeding us positivity so that we can not look away and think, you know, this could never be us, or we can never be that person standing there giving this talk. I think what fuels me is seeing people get up in front of me and talk about what they're able to do and how they got there, but why they're still doing it and why they love what they do. If I had a Black person standing up in front of me saying, I love social care because of this, I love people, I love changing lives, I love helping people, that would inspire me as a young person, because I'm like, wow, they really love people. I love people, but you need to speak to people in a way that you get their attention. And I think if we did that for each other, I think a lot more people would feel more comfortable coming into the healthcare sector.
That it's all about highlighting the amazing people within the sector that go over and beyond every day. We know that in health and social care, particularly in England, a large population of those on the front line are making a difference day in, day out. Through COVID, they have worked overtime and they are consistently changing the lives of those that they are looking after. And I think what perhaps needs to happen is that within organizations or within the sector as a whole, there needs to be signposting to these people, probably a leaflet about each organization, you know, talks about, you know, each home, each hospital brings one person, you know, and says, this is a nurse that is doing something fantastic. This is a housekeeping assistant that's doing something amazing. I also think I like the sound of a Black Excellence in Social Care Awards. I think we need to one thing that we do as a people is that we don't celebrate our achievements enough, perhaps because we think that no one cares anyway, or we just see it as normal, but we go over and beyond every day. And to have a day where we have people within the sector come in and celebrate being Black within the sector and making a difference, you know, putting it out there. I also think bodies like the Department of Health and Social Care, the Care Quality Commission, can celebrate the Black people in their organization on a public platform. They use their social media pages to say it's Black History Month every day of the month. Or this kind of thing will slowly begin to show people in the sector, that we are represented at a higher level, really. So I think for me, those are the two things. And we probably should talk a bit more about this idea of a Black excellence in social care. What I think it's about time.
I think for me, I think it's really important to celebrate Black leaders in health and social care, but there has to be someone to celebrate. So if there aren't any leaders in the first place, who are we celebrating? When we asked of who inspires you, but there has to be someone there in the first place who inspires them. So we have to create these leaders, these figureheads, these people who have achieved greatness. My mum's been a nurse. She's done lots of great things within this sector, and she inspires me, and I think she's done great things. So there are various people that we probably have gone beyond and above in this sector who probably have been lost amongst their peers because maybe they haven't raised their voice, or they've been along. So really showcasing the actual leaders or potential leaders is one area, so people will know who to nominate. Because if we ask for a Black Excellence Award, who would you nominate? So let's be able to find a platform more to just showcase that. Having potential forums where we can all join, and I mean from a national point of view. I know Skills for Care are doing a program called Moving Up, which is more, and Skills for Care being from a national point of view, people around the country can join in. There's lots of silos and little organizations up and down the country who probably don't know the good work that everyone else is doing. And really having more of a national central body or forum or maybe webinars, then people are able to actually see and showcase who they are and recognize a Victoria, a Janet, a Diana, all around the country. So I think definitely celebrate leaders. Let's create the leaders so people can celebrate. That leaves us to just tell final thoughts that you'd like to share. It could be anything. It could be anything we've said already. And probably what's the take home from actually listening to this on Black History Month and health and social care?
Amazing to be Black. I love being Black. I couldn't think of anything else. And I hope that there's people in the sector, irrespective of the challenges that comes with being Black, because we know that it comes with challenges. I hope that there is a deep sense of acknowledgement and recognition of what it means to be Black and how special that is. I will end by saying I went, for an award recently. So I got home and I was feeling some type of way. And when I reflected on the situation, I realized that what happened is I looked around the room at the point in time, and I think I saw only one other Black person in a room full of the leaders in health and social care. Now, it was nice. My organization won an award. I was right there on stage with them, and it felt great. But I remember looking around and thinking, wait a minute. If 75% of the workforce is made up of people from Black and ethnic minority population, where is everybody? And why am I the only one in this room? And thinking, I came out of that, I remember speaking to Dudley and saying, I don't want to be the only one in these spaces. I don't want to be the chosen one. I don't want to be the only one. And all I want to do as my career advances is to make sure that some other young girl doesn't get to look around the room and have nobody else that looks like her there when they are celebrating the people making a difference. Because I work in health and social care. I see Black people every day. I know how hard they work. And I think it's high time that we were represented at the higher levels. And that's my final thoughts.
I would like to see more diverse people in management, yeah, not just one or two. There's enough room for everyone. We should represent, you know, the workforce really. Management should represent the workforce, and you don't really see that in health and social care, right? So we need more of that. And also for to support young people, give them mentors. I mean, I don't even mind working as a mentor. And at the moment, I'm still working within the NHS. But yeah, this is something that I plan to do because I intend to give back to society something. Because, you know, in being a nurse, I've gained a lot. It's really helped me. Yeah, there are times that I felt that, you know, the abuse, the racism and things like that got up my skin. But on the whole, it's helped me to be where I am today and to educate 4 children and to, you know, sort of, yeah. So I'm hoping and I'm praying that this wave of change that we're on at the moment for Black people, that it continues and that we break that glass ceiling, you know, and that we're represented all right across the board, not just in health and social care. That's my hope for the future.
Don't be afraid to speak what is on your heart if you believe that you can be a part of the change that you wish to see. If you don't say it out loud, it may never happen. Strive to be a history maker, a game changer. Take initiative to have those difficult conversations that shed light on what isn't working, what needs to change, and what you can do to be a part of that change. Most of all, never put yourself down. You can be and do whatever your heart's desire is. I always tell myself, know your worth. I hashtag it almost every day in anything that I send out to my family and friends, because it took me a long time. When you fall hard, to get back up again, it's because someone told me that I have worth. And for the person out there that doesn't think they do as a Black person, you definitely have worth. You're unique, you're beautiful, you're strong. I think words are so powerful. Thoughts are sparks that need to be fueled by the passion to pursue your purpose. So I need to be that person that speaks that positivity into that young person, even into an older person. I respect my elders so much, but sometimes we just need that one person that looks like us to remind us that we are worthy. You have purpose, you have skills, abilities, and uniqueness, and you are priceless. Surround yourself with like-minded people, and in the moments that you feel that you are not any of these things, call me. Call your brother or your sister or someone that looks like you, or even someone that doesn't look like you. Be surprised. People out there that are very influential and inspiring, but sometimes you need to have another Black person talk to you and tell you like it is. And for them to speak positivity back into your life. We need to be that for each other and keep that flame alive that our ancestors have kept going all these years. And I am blessed and highly favored written on my body. I have Still I Rise written on my body. And they're on my body for a reason, because words are powerful. And it is to remind me that I know my worth, and to remind people that I come in contact with each day that we've all crossed paths for a reason. I believe these beautiful ladies are here with me today, and you, Dudley, we're all here for a reason, and that we're going to make change. We are history makers. We are game changers. And I don't want to walk away thinking that I didn't say that to someone who needs to hear it. You can be in any position that you want to be in. Don't let anyone stop you until you can't, because you can. And that's all I have to share with you all, because honestly, it's humbling, but Black History Month is more than a month to me. And being Black goes far beyond color. I know that I am worthy to be in any position that I can strive for. And this is not my end. This is just the beginning.
I think wonderful and very powerful words. And anyone who's watching this, I hope it inspires them of what to do in going forward. So thank you very much for those really wonderful words. I'm very proud to have brought everyone here together. It's really been an honor to have you together and have us as a voice together as health and social care. Black, and I call you Black inspirational leaders, people in this sector who are inspirational. And the hashtag has been everywhere, proud to be here. I'm proud to be amongst you, proud to be Black, proud to be a man as well, amongst a sector which is a majority of women. There's lots of things there. I think one thing I will make, and I want people to understand, Black History Month, yes, it's more than just a month. We are Black for beyond the month, you know, come the 1st of November, we still are Black, we're still celebrating. You know, if there are people out here listening to this, those who maybe are allies or people who don't have an understanding, you know, you can take this into your workplaces, celebrate our cultures. We are all different. We come from different backgrounds, different parts maybe of the country. We may come from different continents, we eat different foods. We have different sayings. There are so many rich, different cultures in there. And for those who are interested, you can learn. If you're not sure, you can ask. We can share this. It's so many, a wonderful eclectic mix amongst us. We're not just Black and it's just, you know, we speak one language. There's different various languages, some not English, others, you know. So I think really treasuring the rich resources that are brought to you of culture, of that we can all learn from and develop. Our heritage, there's lots of sayings and lots of things that we've learned from ancestors from different continents. And what I really want to leave this with is that I want us to leave this where we can provide a legacy for those who come after us, that we can be strong, we can bound together, support one another together as a community, and really continue to grow our richness and make people proud to be like us in, I would say, obviously health and social care, but as in society. And don't be afraid, as Deanna said, and the others have said on this, to show who you are. And in going forward, if anyone does have time, just really listen. We're not trying to be disruptors. We're just trying to say, listen to us. We're just trying to make you aware that, you know, we have a different name, our hair's done a different way. It's not a criticism. Just enrich and listen to us, hear us of why we may do things, whether it's be it religion, whatever. So I thank you, everyone, so much for joining us and celebrating Black History Month for health and social care. For all those other sectors, we are here. We're here to stay, and long may it continue. And anyone who's got a voice, please speak or reach out to your fellow Black colleagues, or if you want to share it with fellow allies, please as well. You know, don't be afraid. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. And I would hope to say we're going to meet again before this time next year. Everyone, thank you so much.